Hi, my name is Al Getler, and I'm your host of Lead or Be Led Web TV for Leaders. We are so glad you could be here with us. We are at a breaking point where we're doing part two of a discussion with a guest, and I think you're really going to enjoy, so stick around. Let me make a few announcements. First of all, please make sure that you share the link to our broadcast and our website, and tell folks about what we're doing here at Lead or Be Led. We've had lots of great guests. There are so many more great guests coming up. We want to make sure that you're a part of it. The second thing, of course, is to spread the word about Lead or Be Led. You can sign up on our website and have alerts sent to you every time we have a new episode. You can join our YouTube page on YouTube and be alerted when we post a new video. But please be a part of Lead or Be Led. Comment, share, and tell folks about what we're doing. With that, I'm going to bring back for the second half of our discussion, Michael Hyatt. Michael is an author. He's a former CEO of the Thomas Nelson Publishing Company. He has a website, michaelhyatt.com, that is just wildly successful. We want to talk this time about building platforms and content and whatever else comes our way. So let's welcome back Michael Hyatt.
Hey, thanks, Al. Great to be with you again.
Well, I'm glad you're back, Michael. So, the last time we talked a bit about you and the DNA of what makes you the guy you are and how much you share openly with your audience. Today, I'd like to talk about the platform and the content and what it takes to really be successful to do this. And I know you're going to tell us that it's just so easy. You just snap your finger and there it goes, right? And isn't that the answer?
Yeah, people have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, to create content that has the potential to go viral takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And there is a method to it. And most importantly, it takes practice. I don't know too many people that create content, whether it's written content via a blog or a podcast or a video cast, and it just goes crazy right out of the gate. I mean, maybe if you're Justin Bieber or you already have a platform in another arena, you can make that work. But for the rest of us, for the mere mortals, it just takes slogging it out week after week after week and building an audience. But more importantly, Al, finding your voice, learning to communicate, figuring out what connects, learning how to have empathy for your readers and understand their problems and frame whatever content you're sharing in a way that's useful to them. That's probably my number one secret sauce in terms of success, is writing it from the reader's perspective.
I got to tell you how difficult I have found that to be, and I still haven't had that quote-unquote magic viral opportunity to come my way. After spending 30 years in the newspaper business and the other side of publishing, where people came to you every day for that content, the world has changed significantly. So it comes down to the quality of content and, as you mentioned, the audience. So when it comes to kind of unpacking what it is to make a decision to build a platform, to build content, take us through a couple of steps, Michael, that gets us to the point of where we're heading in the right direction.
Well, I think in one sense, you've got to decide what you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. Is there something that you want to communicate to the world? Because the truth is, and this was a huge aha for me, is that everybody is an expert in something. Now, whether people will pay you for that or not, maybe another question, but everybody's an expert in something. And there are things that people take for granted because they know how to do it, they know information, they've figured it out, that other people will actually pay for. So finding your passion, getting really competent at that, and then finding your audience. Those are like three overlapping circles. And in the middle of those, like a Venn diagram, is your sweet spot. And the more you can work on your sweet spot, the more connection you're going to build and the more successful you're going to be in building a platform.
Now, let's talk about the sweet spot, and let's talk about your term of really delivering wow. What does wow mean, and how does that and the sweet spot go together?
Yeah, the wow thing is huge, and it goes with the sweet spot because you're more likely to deliver wow if it's something you're passionate about, you really care about, and you'll spend the time. Think Steve Jobs creating devices that he wanted to actually use at Apple, and that was really the secret to his success. He scratched his own itch, so to speak. But wow is all about exceeding your market's expectations. When you don't exceed their expectations and everybody comes to you or comes to the relationship or the transaction with a set of expectations, if you don't satisfy those expectations, they leave disappointed. Now, that's very unfortunate in the world of social media because they can complain on Twitter or Facebook and leverage their disappointment so that can go viral too. That's why a movie can open on a Friday night and be dead by Sunday because people take to the viral networks. Second experience people can have, and this used to be sort of the holy grail of customer service, and that's customer satisfaction, where basically people come with expectations, you meet those expectations, they leave satisfied. But that's really not enough either, because that's not going to get you talked about. We expect to be satisfied. The real secret and the real place where you're going to get that viral potential is to exceed people's expectations. This is what gets me to talk about Apple products when I'm sitting on an airplane to a complete stranger, because
Right.
I love my iPad mini. It's what gets me to talk about my Nissan Leaf, which is this all-electric car that I absolutely adore. And it's not because I got an endorsement deal or they're paying me a dime. It's because my expectations have been exceeded. I've been wowed, and I naturally want to talk about it. And that's got to be our goal if we're going to get heard and if we're going to build a platform.
Well, yeah, and you've really you've been very giving in that sense, but you've also built a pretty tidy business from the standpoint of people needing that message and you being able to deliver it and being very authentic as you do it. And I want to switch to a subject of Platform University, which has been one of the things that you know, as a resource, I've pushed more people towards. Of course, you can lead that horse to water, but you know, they don't necessarily drink it. But you know, people ask me every day, how do I get my name out there? How do I get my business out there? And I go into this discussion about Platform University and about content, but you have put something together that's neat and tidy. Again, I say in jest, it's so easy. You just click your finger and you go. It's not that easy at all, but you have packaged it nicely. Tell us a bit about Platform University and what it is and how you become a part of it.
Well, PlatformUniversity.com grew out of the success of the book. When I wrote the book, Platform Get Noticed in a Noisy World, it hit the New York Times list, the Wall Street Journal list, the USA Today list. And it's certainly, I think, a very helpful book. It gets people started. But then I got all these people, I was literally inundated with requests for more customized, deeper help. People wanted more information. They needed a little hand-holding. And most importantly, they wanted a community where they could interact with other platform builders who could help them, encourage them, share resources, and all the rest. So we came up with this membership site called PlatformUniversity.com. And you pay a monthly fee. Right now, it's $25 a month. And for that, you get a unique, specialized content piece every week. So on week 1 of the month, we have a master class. So I interview somebody in the world of platform building that's got a specific expertise. So like last month, I don't know if you watched it, but I interviewed Amy Porterfield.
Yep.
She's like the world's leading expert on Facebook marketing.
Yes.
So then week 2 that I do what's called a backstage pass, and I take you inside of my business and show some aspect of, you know, how I make the sausage, the part of it that the world doesn't see, that's not the front facing, but is the back office kind of stuff.
Right.
Then the 3rd week, we do what's called a member makeover. We have our members who want to volunteer to have me look at their platform. And I'm now doing this with my daughter, Megan, who's the dean of Platform University and has got a great eye for branding. But we go through their platform, we evaluate it, and then we make specific recommendations of how they can take it to the next level. And then the 4th week, we do a live Q&A, which is basically a big conference call where people can call with their specific questions. And I answer them live, just kind of like we're doing here, just kind of off the top of my head, point them to resources, but it gives people a chance to connect with me personally. And then I would say the biggest aspect of it, the part that most people really like, are the discussion forums, where they can go in and ask any question they want. I jump in there from time to time, usually daily, and we just have a great conversation about the things that we all care about.
Well, and you know, you practice what you preach, because I think I've been reading your blog for about 1.5 years. I mean, I'm very new at all of this. You know, I've read the book, and I've seen you speak a couple of times. You came here to where I am and did a workshop. And despite all that, Michael, I find something new every time I listen to your content, watch your content, read your content.
Thank you.
But that is the authentic part of what you do. You never stop learning yourself, and therefore you share. So we're not just buying some packaged thing that doesn't grow beyond lesson 12. That it just keeps on evolving, and Platform University is great that way. So you do a couple of other things too, in addition to Platform University. You also have a platform conference that you do, is that right?
I do. We did the first one last year in Nashville in February. It was a huge success. This one's going to be in Dallas. It's going to be in November, and you can find out more information at platformconference.tv. And we're bringing in some of the world's leading platform builders to speak there. We had a world renowned roster last time. We've got a great roster of people this time. But it's basically 3 days of all platform, all the time, with specific help. And I'm sitting through the whole thing. I mean, I'm in the audience. People can come in at what we call the master level and actually sit with me and have meals with me, or just at a level where whatever they're comfortable with.
Right.
But it's a great conference. People leave inspired and equipped, and that's our goal.
That's outstanding. So again, give the website if you would for that one.
Platformconference.tv.
Okay. Now you also every week give something else from the standpoint of delivery and product, and that is your podcast, which is really found its own niche. Tell us a bit about how you got into podcasting, what convinced you to try podcasting, and why it has worked out as well as it has.
It's really, I'm laughing because I'm still surprised that it's working. I have as many podcast listeners now as blog readers, and I've only been doing this a little over a year. So I'm getting about 360,000 downloads a month of my podcast. But here's how it started. I was talking to my friend Dan Miller, who's at 48daysteam.com, and we were just having this conversation about platforms and all that. And he said, Mike, you've got to do a podcast. And I said, what? And he said, yeah. And so he started explaining to me what it was. It was like on-demand radio and all that. But he said, here's why it works. He said, it's more intimate than your blog because people are listening to you with earbuds in their ears. He said, it doesn't get much more intimate than that. And so I thought, I actually had a little stint in radio back when I was in high school. I got fired from that job, but that's a whole other story. So I thought, okay, I'm going to give this a try. Well, it turned out to be a ton of work, no doubt about it. But it also has allowed me to connect with people that don't read my blog, that are more hearers than readers. And it's opened me up to the iTunes platform so that consistently I'm in iTunes top 10 business blog or podcasts. And that's opened up a whole other audience. So I love podcasting. And if people are interested in that, I'll tell you the guy that I learned everything from is a guy named Cliff Ravenscraft, who has a website called the Podcast Answer Man. Actually, I think it's just podcastanswerman.com. And so the equipment I use, the methodology I use, everything comes from what I learned from Cliff there.
Yeah, his website is great, and he has lots of great advice. But your podcast is one that just from day one you had the elements of it correct, and it offers great and practical advice. But I think the best part about your podcast is your listener involvement. So if you could talk to us a bit about that and how you created it and why it works as well as it does.
Well, yeah, and thank you. But that's a great observation. Web 1.0, and I know we're like Web 4.0 now, but Web 1.0 was all about broadcasting. It was just me putting up a website and talking at people. Web 2.0 allowed for the possibility of interaction so that people could talk back to us and we could have not just a monologue, but a dialogue. Well, I wanted to carry that over into podcasting, and I wanted a mechanism where I could hear from people and address their specific concerns. So I created this basically a voicemail widget on my podcast page, and you can find that by going to michaelhyatt.com, and you'll see in the menu that there's a podcast page there. But people can ask about the topic. So I'll announce the topic a week ahead of time, and people come on and they ask questions and they leave a voicemail. Then I edit those into the show and answer those, so it's much like a live call-in show, except it's not live.
Right.
And
right.
And I link back to their blogs as well, so it gives them a chance to get a backlink to their blog as well.
I was thinking about your podcast and what makes it unique. And what makes it unique is it's all Michael Hyatt all the time. You don't have guests on your podcast. You tackle a subject like you do on your blog. You take the questions, and it's a nice tidy package. And so I advise folks to go out and really tune into that podcast. It's really well done. So what's coming next, Michael? I know you always have you have a stovetop that I kind of liken my life to these days since I've left the newspaper industry, where you have lots of pots kind of percolating and boiling. And what's coming next? What's the next one that's going to steam and we're going to take the lid off of?
Well, the thing that's in the pipeline, and you've been part of this, but it's kind of still under wraps, is my premium WordPress theme, which is called the Get Noticed theme for WordPress, because there are a lot of people out there, platform builders like I was, who want to build a platform, but none of the off-the-shelf WordPress themes really work. And I tried a lot of different ones, and there's some good ones out there, but I didn't have something that really addressed my issues as a platform builder. like the ability to create a speaking page or a speaking calendar, or to put out just sort of nuggets of information without having to write a full-blown blog post. So we created this thing called Get Noticed Theme. It's been in private beta. We just opened it up to paid beta, and it's going to be launching this fall in 2013 to the public. And we've had tremendous reviews, tremendous endorsements, and we're just trying to scale the customer service right now so that we make sure people have a great experience and get the technical help that they want. So that's probably the biggest thing on the horizon right now.
So just, to go back to kind of the elementary level too, a theme is something that you place on your website, on your WordPress website, that gives it the look and the feel and the features. Just, for folks that you're a big proponent of not necessarily being on WordPress.org, but having a self-hosted website. Can you define a self-hosted website for us?
Yeah, and this is probably going to make people's eyes glaze over a little bit, but I'll try to keep it at a high level. But you've got two choices when you do a blog. You've got hosted, where somebody runs the server on their website, and you have less control. Right. So WordPress.com would be an example of hosted WordPress. Self-hosted is where you download the software and actually install it on a server that you rent or lease. That sounds really complicated. It's not. It's very easy. You can do it for as little as $4 a month. And I walk you through on my website at michaelhyatt.com. I think it's /WordPress setup, but I show you how to install self-hosted WordPress on your site in less than 20 minutes. The reason you might want to do that is control. You can run advertising, you can customize all the look and feel, every aspect of it. And for most professional bloggers or people that are sort of semi-pro, they're going to want self-hosted WordPress so that they've got that control.
Right, and there's yet another example of just how you take the time to help your viewers, go through that process. And you're working on another book, I hear, as well. Is that correct? What can we expect from that?
Yeah, I'm so pumped on that. In fact, when we get done with this interview, I'm going to get back to that. But it's called the Life Plan Manifesto. And it's something I've been doing for about 12 years, which is planning my life and really thinking through every aspect of my life and trying to be intentional. Because my contention, and I'm writing it with a good friend of mine, Daniel Harkavy, but our contention is that if you want a great marriage, if you want great kids, if you want a great career, if you want to be in vibrant health, you're probably not going to drift into those things. You're going to have to be intentional and have a plan. A plan doesn't guarantee success, but increases the probability of success. And so we walk you through that entire process. We talk about how to design the life you've always wanted and why you must. So I'm really excited about it. It's coming out in the spring of 2014. We've got the first draft done, and now we're going back and forth on the edits.
Well, I can't wait for the launch, because the launch for a platform that you performed, for anybody that wants to go back, I think that the files are still up on your website. They can get a look at how you launched this website. Or this book, I should say. I mean, it was brilliant. How you. In fact, that's part of the reason why I got so excited about what you were providing to us as readers. Well, Michael, you're a fantastic blogger, a great website. You have a podcast. You have conferences coming up. There are also some dates on your website. I'm sure we can catch you speaking at other people's conferences as well. So that's available. But it is a pleasure to always speak to you. I'd love to have you back again, especially when the new book comes out. And I want to thank you for everything you've done for me personally, but obviously for what you're doing for folks out there that care a lot about what their platform looks like and how it works.
Thanks, Al. I really appreciate being with you.
Well, thanks very much. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up another episode of Leader Be Led. And you don't do much better than Michael Hyatt. He's just an absolutely great guy, and what you see is what you get on or off camera. So please share the links to this interview today, to all the other interviews. We have lots more coming up, exciting guests, things that are happening. It's at leaderbeled.com, web TV for leaders. Tell your friends and tell your neighbors, tell the kids, whatever you want to do. But get out there and tell folks about Leader Be Led, and you'll see more great interviews like the one we just had with Michael Hyatt. My name is Al Gatler, and thanks for joining us today. Take care.